Got this little fire going. I had this log from last night. It didn't finish burning, but I was ready to go in the house, so I figured I'd come out and let it finish cooking. And I wanted to touch on this new legislation. I'm not going to be on here too long. I don't have my selfie stick. This is a bit of a impromptu conversation, on the fly conversation, but I wanted to at least address the new legislation that was passed in Tulsa. The new Tulsa mayor is calling this legislation a reparations bill, which it's not. All right. So I wanted to touch on this. Sorry, I'm having some technical difficulties. I had to check something real quick. But so this new mayor, his name is Monroe. This new mayor's name is Monroe Nichols the Fourth. All right. I think that's important that we highlight. He is the fourth. He's a foundational Black American. He's the new mayor. He was just elected a few days ago in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Monroe Nichols the fourth, right? So he is FBA, and right now in 2024, the Oklahoma Supreme Court denied the survivors of the Oklahoma massacre. There's two survivors. They're like 111 years old, but they're still alive today. Two survivors of the massacre are still alive today, and in 2024, the Oklahoma Supreme Court denied their lawsuit for reparations. They were trying to claim that they suffered a public nuisance. They've been trying to fight for their reparations for decades now. And the response that the Oklahoma Supreme Court gave in denying their reparations claim was that in their denial, I should say, in their denial of the the reparations claim, the Supreme Court argued or said or decided that the best remedy for survivors of the Supreme Court massacre would be through the legislative branch. It would be through policymakers. So, as a new mayor, a new foundational Black American mayor, I think there was a man. I'm gonna pick up in a second, bro. Let me call you back, bro. If you're watching or if you're on there, I'm gonna call you back. But last year in 2024, the Oklahoma Supreme Court said that the best remedy or the only remedy for survival would be through the policymakers, through the legislative branch. So, and recently, and hold on, guys, sorry about this. People always want to call me as soon as I'm going live. Hold on, guys. All right, sorry about that, guys. So in 2024, they decided it was through the policymakers. Now, we saw that in 2024 also, Kamala Harris lost the presidential run. And one of the causes, I'm not saying it's the only cause, but one of the reasons was her base. Her base was not her base was not supportive, right? There was a whole debate. What did Donald Trump say? I didn't know you were black. You just recently became black. So this delineation movement and the reparations movement, they are they play hand in hand. They're both significant and they're both relate to each other. So right now, the Democratic Party is trying to pivot. They say, okay, there's a delineation movement going on. Well, we'll give you a foundational Black American as the mayor of Tulsa on the heels of those women, those survivors being denied reparations and being told that the policymakers would be responsible for giving those ladies remedy. So that means that this new mayor, this foundational Black American mayor, is being elected with a mandate. He's being elected. I'm just telling you about the societal, the culture. I'm telling you about what's going on right now. Right now, there is a cultural shift. There's a delineation movement that's taking place, and this man was elected on the heels or in the midst or in the context, in the environment of the delineation movement, the call for reparations, and the Oklahoma Supreme Court denying the two survivors of the race massacre. And you are being elected as the mayor of that very city where this denial just took place. Right? So he's being elected with a mandate. And the reparations that the reparations, quote unquote, the solution, that the remedy that he provides, instead of giving any type of, he starts $105 million trust to build up the city, not $105 million trust to give to the survivors and their descendants. See, that's the problem. This is, first of all, this legislation is not even based on taxes. This is a charitable bill. The mayor is setting up a trust where he will encourage donations. So this is charity. This is charity. This is donations for, and they're calling it reparations. But the repair isn't going to the specific people and their descendants who lost their homes and lost their businesses and lost their jobs, lost their careers, lost everything. They were put in internment camps, lost their family members, lost their lives. Instead of starting a $105 million uh, trust to give the survivors and their descendants reparations, he sets up a trust to rebuild the city. Dude, this is an infrastructure bill. This is an infrastructure bill. You're going to use these people's reparations. You're going to use the survivors of the race massacre and their descendants, their kids, their family members, everyone who has been affected for generations. You're giving their money, their reparations money, to the city to build up houses and build up infrastructure. This is a infrastructure bill which everyone will benefit from. It's not just, see, at the time of the race massacre, that was during segregation. So if you rebuild the city, you're rebuilding their city because that would still be under segregation. That would be their city. But now you're rebuilding the city, which means black, white, immigrant. You could have just got here 5 years ago, last year, 3 months ago. You will be benefiting from this reparations bill. And the people who suffered specific and unique harm, they get nothing. They get nothing. This, and I'm disappointed in dude because he should know better. And I'm about to, I got to add some wood to this fire, but I want to go into why he should know better. I'm disappointed in this new Tulsa mayor, and he should know better. I'm going to explain that in a second. Give me a second. I got to add some wood to the fire. Got to feed the fire. Feed the fire. But dude should know better. He's the fourth. Monroe the fourth. He should know better. And I got to break that down in a second too. Dude should know better because he is a foundational Black American, and not only is he a foundational Black American, he's a generational. He's a legacy foundational Black American. I say that because I'm the fifth. My name is Louis Fry the fifth. Louis Fry Sr. was born in 1903 in Bastrop, Texas. He graduated high school at the age of 15 and was the first black man to go to Harvard University and get a master's. He was the first black man to get a master's in architecture from Harvard University. That man, who was born in 1903, my great granddad, who I met in the 90s, that man changed my life. He affected me generations later. I'm the fifth, so I know my name, and I know my dad, I know my granddad, I know my great granddad. I know how their lives have led me to where I am now. And as the fourth, Monroe the fourth, the Tulsa, Oklahoma mayor, he's the fourth, which means he too should know how the forefathers laid the foundation for you to be where you are. So if you know and you recognize how your fathers and what happened to them and what they did in their lifetimes affect you and what you're doing now, if you know that as the fourth, then you should know that those generations, The surviving members of the Tulsa, Oklahoma massacre, as well as their kids, their grandkids, and their great grandkids are all affected. And that's facts. If you were a doctor in Tulsa, if you were a doctor in Tulsa, Oklahoma during the Tulsa, Oklahoma massacre, you had your own private practice, and the thing was burned down, your wife was murdered, was raped and murdered, you were put in an internment camp, you were shipped to a different state. Think about how your kids, your grandkids, and your great grandkids would be affected by that loss of time, loss of life, and loss of property versus how their kids, grandkids, and great grandkids would have been affected if they were able to continue their practice in a thriving black community. When they like to say, "Oh, that was so long ago," listen, it's passed down. Check it out. It's passed down. All right, it's passed down. You can only do so much within your lifetime, but what you do affects your kids, and happens to your kids affects your grandkids, and so on. I know I've seen for myself the difference and a granddad and a great granddad can make in your life and the lives of the generations later. And as the fourth, Monroe the fourth, the Tulsa, Oklahoma mayor should know better. He's given all away. He's given away the money that belongs to the survivors and their kids and their generations. He's given the foundational Black American money away to the city for infrastructure. This is theft. He should be ashamed of himself. He should be ashamed of himself. And like I said, this is a impromptu video, so I'm gonna, if I get a chance to edit it, I'll put a clip so that you guys can see exactly what I'm referring to. So you guys can see exactly what I mean um, as far as this new reparations bill. I'll give you all some receipts when I edit this video. But I just wanted to hop on real quick and say exactly what I said. If you enjoyed this video or got any value from watching, just be sure to hit the thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. I got a lot of interesting takes you might find interesting. That being said, I'll see you on the next one. Peace.